America is known as a melting pot where an array of individuals with different backgrounds, lifestyles, and beliefs can live together in unison. However, it is apparent that in American entertainment and news media that many of the minority groups within the society are represented by inadequate portrayals that are often stereotypical and demeaning.
Today I'm announcing my support
Washington
for a
State
law
is
that gives
attempting
our
to
same-sex
end marriage
couples
segregation.
in our state the right to receive a marriage license in Washington, the same right given to our heterosexual couples.
This is just one issue the gay community faces. Homophobia extends much farther than the issue of marriage equality. Articles from Chip LeGrand in Australia and T.L. Stanley in Los Angeles conclude that media like this is responsible for fostering a culture that has deemed homophobia acceptable.
You know I know you're gay? How? I saw you make a spinach dip in a loaf of sourdough bread once.
They're laughing at us. Hey, they laughed at Louis Armstrong when he said he was going to go to the moon. Now he's up there, laughing at them.
You know how I know you're gay?
How? How do you know I'm gay?
Because you macrameed yourself a pair of jean shorts.
Whenever you come into the office, I want you to think about this.
The portrayal is not always negative. Ellen is known as a talk show host. Neil Patrick Harris is adored for his role in How I Met Your Mother. These celebrities are some of the rare gay voices
on the issue,
in
though,
media.
Sarah, of sports and its attitude towards gay athletes.
According to documentarian Jed Grubby, the gay community faces its largest challenge in the sporting world.
Yeah, there's still a gap. I mean, you know, there's still people out there and stuff discriminating against, you know, the GLBT community.
No male American athlete has come out while playing professionally.
Every time somebody lashes out in the NFL, I'm always on this show. We're talking about it. You know, I think people just need to realize and stuff that, number one, we are all children of God.
John Amaechi, former NBA player, is an advocate for gay rights.
Coming out and living openly can be challenging, and that challenge only grows when people like Ann Coulter mockingly use slurs for a cheap laugh. Words have power, and this word in particular has a ricochet effect as it emboldens bullies in the schoolyard, in the workplace, and on the streets, and it tells them that this kind of hate speech is okay.
The media has taught you that this is gay, and this is not. The world's not always so black and white.
What's up with the guy with the weird eyes? He handicapped or something?
We believe he's of Korean descent.
Asian stereotypes. Harold and Kumar in Rush Hour defy the typical Asian stereotype, aka inability to speak English and chinky eyes, which somehow brings huge success here in America. Producers of the film Harold and Kumar decided to portray Asians as this generation's typical wild American citizens, experimenting with drugs, sex, and vulgar language, as straying away from being foreigners.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Critics and analysts believe that Rush Hour is successful as it portrays Jackie Chan's character with the traits of an American, such as speaking basic English and listening to musicians such as the Beatles. Hollywood's Asian invasion. The familiarity is rising upon the American audience through various media outlets with Asian Americans such as YouTuber Ryan Higa and actor Justin Chun. The International Herald, a global newspaper, reported that Asian Americans are taking over YouTube, such as Ryan Higa, who has over 5 million subscribers from all over the world, along with Kev Jumba and Michelle Phan. Justin Chun, one of the rising Asian American actors who appeared in films such as The Twilight Saga and soon to be in 21 and Over, which was filmed by the directors of the first The Hangover, plays various roles from very Asian to non-Asian.
Yeah, that does play a role, because if you look at what's on TV right now, there's no reason why I should take a stereotypical racist role. In The Mentalist, we have Sandra Oh in Grey's Anatomy. We have so many, there's a plethora of roles that are out there that aren't racist. So why would I digress and take a role? I'm actually really proud of the Asian American community because they are saying stuff about Two Broke Girls, and there is a lot of backlash against it, and they're not having it. A week and a half ago, I went in for Broke Girls for a guest star role, and they're looking now to counterbalance the racist character. They're looking for a hot Asian guy to be a love interest of one of the girls. In my opinion, that's bullshit. The problem is if I don't take a role like that, then someone who is hungry is going to take that, and if they're not very talented, we're back to square one.
Maria of the Washington Post observes this as a prime example of the matchup theory, which is highly enforced in the media as it is a marketing concept of how people with certain social characteristics fit a certain image best. Like agents with technology. Theory, multiculturalism, which is the idea of mixing various cultures into one and which allows familiarity for different races and cultures for Asian Americans.
What kind of gentleman speak French?
In Hollywood, network and cable shows, advertising, sports programming, literature, music, and social networking media, African Americans are constantly portrayed in a negative and stereotypical way.
He's climbing in your windows, he's snatching your people up, trying to rape them, so y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
Black males are viewed as violent criminals and pests to society. This is due to the limited news coverage on black males as well as their roles in popular movies. Research from a study on African American men and boys in Pittsburgh concludes that the majority of crime stories in printed news involve black males, and about 87% of the stories in televised news involving African American men and boys are crime-related. As for black women, they are often viewed to be lower in status compared to black males, many times seductively flaunting their bodies in rap videos. African American women are also often playing roles that characterize them as large women with loud and sassy attitudes.
Stay on your side! Don't try to hit me! See, I'm trying to put on my lipstick! Oh, I can't stand people!
In the midst of all these negative stereotyping, there are those instances that portray African Americans in a positive light. However, more often than not, we are exposed to the uneducated, low-income, immoral, and violent portrayals of African American men and women.
A main effect of these negative portrayals of minorities is an us versus them mentality is created. This has a very real danger of causing a social rift between different groups.
Mass media has a different effect on minorities than Caucasians, according to research. Minorities perceive the news to be more real and are in a greater threat to be negatively influenced. But why is this happening? Even with growing populations, minorities themselves make up a disproportionately small percentage of media.
A recent study showed that only 13.5% of full-time journalists were racial minorities. Only 12% of editors and copy editors were racial minorities. Of these, most were concentrated in New York, Los Angeles, or Chicago, leaving the rest of the country bare. This leaves minorities without a voice and a very limited perspective. And it is not just news and print.
A recent study showed that only 27% of primetime TV characters are racial minorities, and of these, many are extremely minor characters, criminals, or employed in lesser positions. Reality TV, a very popular genre in the modern day, only has 4% minority participants.
So how does this affect minorities? Alienation and loss of social identity are very real threats. Once a social perception or stereotype is put in place and reinforced on a constant daily basis, it is extremely difficult to remove. And unfortunately, this trend shows little in the way of stopping.
Stereotypes of minority groups are something we see in the media every day. They are often incomplete and inaccurate and pose the danger of changing how we think about each other.